Hi friends of Tanatson Kids for Channel. Today I am so excited. I am going to meet a lawyer. And have you ever wondered how is it being a lawyer? Because today we're going to know how is it being a lawyer. So join me, let us explore and discover the future occupation of today. Because we, Tanatson Kids for Channel, live the future. My future occupation.
My future occupation.
Hi, Professor.
How are you?
I'm very fine.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Have a seat.
Okay, my name is Michelle David. I'm going to be the host of this show, My Future Occupation, as a lawyer.
My name is Professor Zakayo Robert Lukmai.
Yes.
This institution, I'm the deputy principal in charge of academics.
So, Professor Zakai, can you please tell me more about your career as a lawyer? I want to know, like, who's a lawyer and what's his job.
Yes, thanks so much. You said your name is
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Michelle, for your very good question.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a lawyer by profession, and a lawyer is a person who is trained in law, and it's the person who has a Bachelor of Laws degree
Yes.
from any recognized university in the world. I myself studied at the University of Islam.
Okay.
That was 1996. So that was when I completed my studies.
Awesome.
1996, and I worked as a resident magistrate. And later I went to join the University of Islam for a second degree, which is called LLM. And later I joined the PhD program at the same University of Islam. And later I joined the academics as the lecturer at the University of Islam, and later the deputy principal in charge of academics at the School of Law of Tanzania.
That's great.
Yes, you said I am also an advocate. As a lawyer, I am also an advocate of the High Court, representing my clients who have cases in various courts of law.
Wow. So telling me that you're a lawyer and being an advocate at the same time is possible.
Yes, every person with an LLB degree is a lawyer,
Yeah.
but not all lawyers are advocates.
Yeah. So you're telling me that there are different types of lawyers. Like, they're a lawyer, but in some parts, like, not every lawyer is an advocate.
You are quite right, Michelle. Every person who has studied law is a lawyer, and he can only become an advocate when he has been enrolled in a certain book which is kept at the judiciary of Tanzania, and the person who enrolls people in that book is called the Chief Justice of the United Republic of Tanzania. But
Wow.
before you are enrolled as an advocate, you need to acquire some qualifications. And the qualification you need to have is you need to pass bar examination. Before the Law School of Tanzania, all those who wanted to be lawyer advocates had to appear before the Council for Legal Education for the interview, and once they pass that interview, then their name is sent to the Chief Justice for purposes of enrollment, and they petition, they take the applications to the Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice would call them and interview them. And once the Chief Justice is satisfied that the person possesses academic qualifications and also character-wise he is a suitable person to become an advocate, then his name is enrolled as an advocate of the High Court of Tanzania.
That's great and awesome. Can you believe it? Professor Zakai here is enrolled in that book.
Yes.
Imagine you could be a legend in it. So, I understand that you are enrolled in that book, being a legend. Can you believe being a lawyer could also be a legend? Enrolled in the book of the United Republic of Tanzania. This is awesome. So, can you tell me more about your job, like being a lawyer? How is it like? What do you do? Yeah.
Being a lawyer is very interesting. Very interesting.
Whoa.
And let me give you a little background of why I prefer this profession.
Okay, that's awesome. Friends of Tanata Kids First Channel, as you can see right now, Professor Zakai right here is about to tell us why he preferred being a lawyer. Maybe you also have your own background to why you would like to become a lawyer in the future.
My father, when I was growing up, my father had a lot of cases. When I was schooling at the primary school and later at the secondary school, my father had a lot of cases in court and he would be taken in custody, he would be put in prison. Why? Because he was defending his rights. He had a farm which he inherited from his father, my grandfather, but there were people who came and took some pieces of land and they built their houses, they grew their crops. So once my dad wanted to take back the land, he was taken to court and prosecuted. And also he had a lot of civil cases in court. And I just thought, when I grow up, I need to study something which can make me able to defend the rights of my father. That's why when I grew up and I went to school, the secondary school, I opted for subjects which can take me to that route which I wanted. And the route was becoming a lawyer. So I went to I completed my Form 4, got a good division 1. I went to the high school and I also got a good division 1, and that qualified me to join the University of Dar es Salaam in 1993. And as I was joining the University of Dar es Salaam, taking my degree, my father had cases in court. And when I was studying law, the little knowledge I had, I would use to help my father to reclaim the land from people who grabbed a piece of land from him. And once I completed in 1996, I expanded now. I had an interest of protecting children, protecting widows, protecting all those who have their rights, that their rights have been taken away by various people or various organizations. So I studied. Now I expanded my role, instead of just protecting my father, but also protecting people like my father whose rights have been violated. And as I'm standing, I have a lot of cases now in court, defending widows, defending children, etc. So that is where I am now as an advocate.
That is so cool. Your background is so interesting on why you wanted to become a lawyer. My fellow friends, you could have your own background to why you want to become a lawyer for today. Your story could be more interesting to why you want to become a lawyer, and so on to why you wanted to become a doctor, and so why you want to become a mechanic. you would have your own background too. Professor Zakayo, can you please tell me, are there any special lawyers for children whose rights are, they don't get their rights? Are there any special lawyers for children?
I doubt if there are special lawyers for children.
Okay.
But every lawyer has some elements of protecting the rights of children. Because as a lawyer or as an advocate, we are trained in various aspects of the law, including children's rights or human rights, including children's rights.
Yes.
Now, but there are people who have specialized in protection of children's rights. And those have, for example, non-governmental organizations. A person, for example, who wants to protect the rights of children would have an organization, which is non-governmental organization, and there he specializes in children's matters, in matters related to children, their rights, rights to right to education, and once they are in conflict with the law, then they will step in to protect the rights of children. But also, the government of Tanzania has a special department. It's called the Department of Social Welfare.
Yeah.
It's there to protect all the children of Tanzania, and every person, for example, who wants to adopt a child to make sure that he complies with regulations and rules and guidelines given by the department, because it is that department which has been given the duty to make sure that children are protected. Children cannot just be taken away without their consent or without them being involved. But there are also other departments in the Ministry of Constitution and Legal Affairs, which is also responsible for protection of children. And there are people who have specialized to protect children.
Okay.
But the whole government and every person, irrespective of the profession, is there to protect the rights of children.
So it is that every lawyer is supposed to protect the rights of the children, but there are people, okay, like NGOs that are special for protecting their children's rights.
Yes, and departments of the government, like the Department of Social Welfare. Yeah.
I wonder, me as a child, my right is being protected. I am so glad. I know that my fellow kids, you are so glad hearing that your rights are being protected, and there are special NGO, people that protect your rights. This is so cool hearing that human rights are protected. They ensure that everyone gets the right, and they get the rights, and also by the same time fulfilling their responsibility as lawyers. Professor Zakayo, je, kuna mahakama yoyote special kwa ajili ya watoto?
Mahakama special kwa watoto ipo.
Wow, that's cool.
Ipo.
Okay.
Ukienda pale mahakama ya mkazi Kisutu, utakuta mahakama ya watoto. Watoto wote ambao wana matatizo, labda wamejiingiza katika tabia ambazo sio sawa katika jamii, vijana, kula madawa ya kulevya, wanapelekwa. Lakini pia kama kuna shughuli yote ya mtoto, kama nilivyosema adoption, kama nilivyosema nini, inapelekwa kwenye mahakama ya watoto. Kwa mfano, haki za mtoto, labda kutunzwa, kama anapokea mzazi hamtunzi mtoto vizuri, kama labda kuna mtoto ambaye amesema ametelekezwa, au labda kama kuna mtoto ambaye baba yake anamkataa, hampi matunzo, wanapelekwa kule, alafu wale wahusika wanaitwa, inakuwa ni kesi kabisa ambayo wanaitwa, wanakwenda kujitetea, alafu ile mahakama inatoa amri kuhakikisha kwamba haki za mtoto zinapatikana, haki ya elimu, haki ya kulala vizuri, zote zinapatikana hapa. Hiyo mahakama iko special kwa ajili hiyo. Lakini pia kuna jela ya watoto.
Knowing that one scary.
Yes. Kuna jela ya watoto. Hiyo ni kwa ajili ya kutunza watoto tu, na ziko sehemu mbalimbali, lakini moja kubwa iko Mbeya, lakini hapa pia Dar es Salaam iko.
So when the child is found guilty, jail.
Yes. Yeah, jail. Yes.
Did you hear that? Their kids, jail. Do not involve yourself in bad activities such as drugs, stealing, or killing. Do not involve yourself in negative peer pressures. Just stay good, stay nice. You will not go to jail. I myself do not want to go to jail. Torture life.
Sure, you wouldn't.
Yeah. So, Professor Zakayo, as you said before, with your background story, why you wanted to be a lawyer, what would you like to advise my fellow kids watching who want to become a lawyer in the future? What would you advise them, the children who have passion in lawyer? What would you advise them, and what would you tell them how they should, start the whole thing, like lawyer? What should they do? Yeah.
That's a very interesting question, Michelle. And I would, as a lawyer, as an advocate, and as a professor of law, I would wish to invite them to the profession.
That's awesome.
Yes, invite
Welcome.
them to become lawyers. Now, how they can become lawyers is just to go through the ordinary channel from nursery school, primary school, secondary school, O level and A level, and in O level, for those who want to be lawyers, I advise them to take the following subjects: history, geography, English. Those are the subjects which are very important if you want to become a lawyer. But it used to be that a person who has not studied history cannot qualify to be a lawyer. But now, even those who have studied physics, chemistry, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, physics, geography, mathematics can become lawyers, but they must have passed history, geography, and English in their secondary education, in their O-level education, so they can qualify to be a lawyer or to take law. Now, it begins with the passion. It begins with the passion. One must have the passion.
An interest.
An interest, because it is the interest that motivates a person to become what he wants to be. I normally ask children undergoing their school studies or their studies at the lower level. My question always to them is, what would you want to become when you grow up? Others tell me they want to become lawyers, they want to become medical doctors, they want to become so and so and so. Others, they want to become pilots. Now, from that alone, once I get that answer from a child, then I realize that this child is a focus. And the interest which a child has, I will draw from the way she or he tells me about what he wants to become in future. You get that passion from that child. Like a person who is interested in something to become happy with it. The way he expresses it, he expresses in a way that you see deep in her or in his heart that she has or he has a passion.
And he's
on the
always
thing.
excited about it.
He is always excited about it, and he would tell everybody around that I want to become a lawyer, I want to become a pilot, I want to become a doctor, etc., etc., etc. And rest assured, once a child has that passion, has that interest, right at the childhood, she will stick to all those manners and procedures and rules and that pattern of life which would take her or him to the route she or he is taking. Like, for example, a child cannot tell you she wants to become a lawyer while she's busy going around the streets, busy fighting, busy committing crimes. That one cannot become a lawyer and cannot become anybody for that matter. So the discipline a child has, the commitment a child has, and the way he has chosen the subjects, the causes, those are the factors that determine how this child is going to achieve his or her goals. He's going to achieve her ambition. He's going to realize what he wants to be in future. So that is my advice. Have a focus in the first place. Say what you want. I always draw inspiration from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2. It says, write your vision. Make it plain. Make it visible so that people may read your vision as if they are drinking water. What it means is that if you have a dream, put down your dream. If you have a vision, put down your vision. If you have goals, put down your goals in form of a statement written somewhere, and always you pray. It means you have the statement, and always you remind yourself that this is who I want to be. God, make me what I want to be. This is what I want to be. So you read your vision, you read your statement as you pray. That is what can make you what you want to be. Pulling all the resources, you need help from the parents, you need help from the community, you need help from friends, you need help from everybody around who supports your vision. So that is how one can become a lawyer, or how one can become a professor, or one can become a medical doctor.
Amen, Professor. Amen. That was sure a good lesson. I myself would also encourage you not give up, and also if you know that your dream is to become a lawyer, there are other kids out there who not even know what they want to be in the future right now. They're still struggling, like, should I become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer? They're struggling so much. But just know, your background, your passion would lead you to what you want to become in the future. Not give up. If you say that you want to become a lawyer, not give up. Do not hesitate to try. As Professor Zakayo said here, he told you the subjects that you should follow in order to become a lawyer. Always do not give up. No matter what people say about you, do not give up. Thanks for joining me in my adventure today of being a lawyer. My future occupation. We learned a lot and I am so excited. Today I am here at the University of Dar es Salaam Department of School of Law of Tanzania. And I am so glad meeting Professor Zakayo. One of the inspirational stories he gave me, and I am so happy hearing it because it has a happy ending. He dealt with this case, and I am so glad that it had a happy ending. He struggled with it. He told me as a child that I also learned something. I learned something from the story. So I'd like to share it with you. So there was a child who was born, and his mother threw him off to the garbage place, and the dogs came by and ate his private parts. By that time, he was in a critical condition. So they took him to the orphanage and they took him to the hospital, so he was in quite critical condition. The sponsors came in by, they're Canadians. They came to sponsor. They gave all the medical things and everything. They sponsored what he needed, the medicines and all the requirements for the hospital and everything. So it was reached a time the child was healthy. So the sponsors wanted, there is a certain mother who was sponsoring the medical cares, so he wanted to adopt the child. She was saying that, oh, I cannot live without this child. And true that she said that if I won't get to adopt this child, I will die. So Professor Zakayo had this case complaint, and the mother, the Canadian, wanted to adopt this child. So they went by to the courts, and they were saying that you cannot adopt this child because you haven't followed the procedures that you have to stay in Tanzania for like 2 years and more. So the mother was so she was depressed that I have to have this child. Without this child, I would die. So Professor Zakayo struggled and struggles. He standed with his right, the right to health care and medication, because the Canadians supported and sponsored the child. So in all of that, they succeeded with the case, and he is now in Canada with the mother. They're all happy and a happy ending. I am so glad about it. I hope you learned something. That first of all, the Canadian mother did not give up in whatever situation she was in. What she desired, that I have to have the child, she did not give up on that. And the second thing I learned from the story is that when you have to, when Professor Zakayo said your goals, you have to set them when the child was in the critical condition. Imagine somebody beaten by dogs on the private part. Imagine what kind of critical condition. But the mother, the Canadian mother, she relieved herself and took all care of the medicine. That's what I learned from today's story. I am so happy that you had a happy ending. I hope you've learned more than I did. Thank you. Bye. My future occupation.